Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark in the blue, the final boss. It's Dark. And his nemesis, the only Protoss with a winning record against him. The Protoss we don't deserve, but the one we need right now. A hero. In this best of 5 ZVP Grand Finals. New pack, new maps, same ridiculous players. We have the Professor of Chaos in Dark and the Dean of Disaster in Hero, and always entertaining, if not necessarily the most predictable games. There's only one thing we can really predict, which is me begging you for likes, and if you haven't made it there yet, subscribes. And Jimmy, what are we? What? 1,285 likes on this video, on this cast, on this finals. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As with these two, it's either going to be incredible or an incredible disaster. Oh. So, on Ghost River, one of our exciting new maps, there is no second third base. There is no secondary option. Which means Hero has actually blocked Dark from being able to get a third. Gets into the base with a Zergling, Twilight Council. We will go over the patch notes after this drama. Hey, sir! Sir, this is private property. I don't see a sign. All right. I know. So, well, Susan, bring the... Actually, no. Wait. Those are drones. Hello? The drone... Dark, that's not your base. He's doing a drone rush, but the Adept spots it. There's nothing in the wall, though. But the... Well... Huh, wait. The drones are now on the wrong side of what is now a wall. And it's just an Adept on the inside. The Zergling's a bit late. It appears that Hero may have failed this task successfully. He didn't have any units in the wall, and that means he was able to wall off easier, but Dark's timing was significantly off. The Overlord didn't spot the Adept. He's now putting it... Oh no, it's a disaster. Oh. So, Dark got his third base blocked, decided to just pull the drones. Hero just blindly sent out the Adept, spotted the drones, which were mistimed with the Lings, and with all that said and wrapped up before we even really finished an introduction, game #1 goes to Hero. Hero, for maybe the first time in quite a while against Dark, has actually come out of ahead by not having a unit in the wall. Because the drones actually... The drones are supposed to mineral walk through and kill whatever unit is in the wall, so that way the Zerglings can get in, of course. But Hero circumvented that by simply not bothering. A real next-level strategy. I think it was born more out of desperation than it was born out of, like, a top-level strategy. I don't think Dark was enjoying the fact that he just couldn't take a third base. So notice here on Alcyone, you have a choice of 2 different bases. So usually you end up taking at least one of them. And in fact, if you ask Dark, well, the gold base is usually natural. But I don't know. Well, the new maps have some very interesting terrain features. And by interesting, that is, of course, code for very annoying, especially for Zerg. A lot of mineral walls. So Alcyone, of course, if you've been watching at any point in like the last 8 months, you know this is not one of our new maps, but definitely one of our more interesting ones. No, that was actually interesting, not code for painful. It can be. The little watchtower at the center, and those choke points, the drama around the gold bases, but it definitely is more spread out than Ghost River, for example. I don't know how many of the new maps. There are 9 maps in the pool now. It's a best of 5, which means you can see most of them, but I do wonder how many of the new ones, of which there are 5, we're going to end up showing. What is this wall off, Hero? Sure. Just slap a pylon in it, why not? It ended up working out. I think it was because Hero was able to push away the Overlord. So Dark didn't quite see the Adept. But it was a bit sloppy to not have the drones with the Lings. That was a pretty big mistake as well. So Dark off to a rough start. Now let's talk about the patch. All right, the patch designed to affect Terran versus Protoss more than Terran versus Zerg. So not too many changes on that end. The big ones are sentries are no longer light units. Neither are they heavy. They're just right, which means they take less damage from banelings, but, you know, they don't have a lot of HP, so I wouldn't be using them to tank the Banes. Pylons have one more vision, and observers build slightly faster. Technically, they're also slightly larger, in case that matters to you. Which makes them a little easier to see even when they're cloaked. Why not? As for Zerg, burrowed infestors have less vision and take longer to pop up and are more obvious when they do so. Dropper lords are about 10% faster. Of all the things, I think that might be the most relevant one. But yeah. Also, you get very slightly more creep from your hatcheries. Not creep tumors, but from your hatcheries. Mostly so you can wall off. You know, now that I think about it, Dark may be getting extra mileage out of that. But it used to be 12 range, now it's 13 range, which just allows you to have creep usually to your wall off. This is more for ZVZ, but also, like, sometimes you want to wall off against Adepts or Hellions, and not every map would the creep extend quite to the wall without a creep tumor. So, but with Dark, and the ability to extend creep a little bit further from a hatchery, it doesn't matter where that hatchery is. It's just from the hatchery. I think Dark may be one of the players who finds a way to use that a bit more aggressively. 4 kills with an Oracle. That is a significant... that's a double what we're used to seeing, and definitely more than Dark should be taking. That's not even a particularly early Oracle. So a bit odd that Dark's so unprepared. He's got plenty of drones on the way. Arguably too many, as we have this Oracle Adept pressure coming out. Just something to keep him honest. And Dark actually is getting a bit greedy here. Well, enough queens though. Yeah, but unfortunately, queens don't move very quickly, unlike the Adept Shades. Kind of surprising he didn't go for it there. There's no Spore Crawler at the third. Oracle gets knocked. Get off my creep! Oracle gets knocked down, so that is a win for Dark. But overall, Hero's getting an inordinate amount of damage down. He's killed 10 drones. I think at this point, it kind of justifies the loss of that Oracle. As he slowed down the lair tech, he slowed down most of the economy. And Hero has 55 probes himself, 56. And it just keeps going up, and it will for a while. As Hero with +1 and blank, adding on 3 more gates. It probably won't end there. Yeah. We're going up to 8 gates here. A full blank +1 pressure. Not necessarily designed to win the game outright, but certainly keep Dark very, very busy. Dark, on the other hand, has no upgrades. He's double expanding, which he has a lot invested right now, but he's a long way from it paying off. So Hero's blink pressure could definitely, especially when combined with the Oracles to help clear the creep, this is a very dangerous timing. I don't think Hero has been making probes for quite a while. He's really looking to hammer this point home. Ideally kill the 4th, whichever, well, he might not realize that both fourth bases are taken, but possibly, if Dark is undercommitted at all, just win the game. But here we go. Hero should be warping in and moving out momentarily, as there's really no point in waiting after the blink and +1 are done. That is your peak moment here. All right, Hero is peaking right now as he warps in these stalkers. Now rebuilding probes, but this is the time. And Hero actually has the supply lead. It's 54 to 27 army supply, which is twice as much. And those are +1 stalkers, the queens. Why are we friend up? Oh my god, out of nowhere. I don't... Loses an oracle, blinks forward to try to kill the queens. The lings will force it back. The queens doing a good job, forming quite a meat shield. Against, oh wow, just a proxy gate for blink. Why not? Meanwhile, stalkers still looking to snipe some of the queens, gets one. Dark has a hive on the way. He's got a dozen hydras. He's got a lurker den. If he survives to get really any of those things done, he's gonna be in a great spot. But he's gotta survive at first. Splits up, deals with the stasis. The oracles. Did he build 4 in total or did he rebuild 1? Unclear. But I think 4 in total, maybe 5. The drones are put. Dark! 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 Okay, Dark's like, yeah, is it time? Is it time? No, we're not. No! He pulls the drones to eat some of the stalker shots. Trades out 8 of them. There's more drones. There's shield batteries alongside the push as well. Hero. Well. The Hydra's on the high ground with a beautiful concave. Blunks forward, but a lurker! A lurker just in time. He tries to use the revelation. Another lurker comes up. It isn't revealed during all this. The stalkers are actually moving their way forward, but he lost the oracles. You had one job, hero. You had one job. I mean, he had a lot of jobs, but the main job was make sure he doesn't let one lurker stop this entire push in its tracks. Unfortunately, though, the Adepts shade into the northern base, which has barely any drones, because Dark, with a remarkable amount of enthusiasm, pulled them to deal with it. But it might have made the difference, as those drones stalled out the push. There is no detection here. The lurker going to have to maneuver. He's got to be very careful. Oh my god, that lurker is so important. And right now, there's nothing to deal with it. He has no detection. There's no robotics facility. Hero is going for late game Adept Glaives. What? He's trying to counter Hydras with Adept Glaives. Sure. And he's still got the shield batteries and the gateway out on the map. Another Oracle has showed up to the party, and that lurker will be taken out. There's still 3 lurkers on the field, though. This is when we use that new observer buff and build observers just slightly faster. Unfortunately, the robo still takes the same amount of time, which means that Hero's attempt here to break into the third is going to be shut down. And there's nothing to really deal with those lurkers. And the fact that Dark, does Hero have any vision? I mean, he has eyes, but he just keeps blinking, so it's unclear. He doesn't know about the southern base, the 6 o'clock right now. Dark is just putting 1 or 2 lurkers out there, something wherever he can't be revelated easily. Double robo now from Hero, but Dark has survived. And I think Hero's going to realize that Dark wasn't pinned back to just that option for bases. He could have gone towards the south, and indeed he did. But Dark did lose a lot of drones throughout. He's lost 30 drones throughout this game. He's rebuilt the majority of them, but Hero actually has a worker lead. The lurkers have range. Adaptive Talents is done, which means they can dunk their faces in quicker. The hatchery will likely go down, just cancels it. The lurkers have to maneuver around, but there's several of them. Revelation takes out 1, but a single lurker slice, doing terrible, terrible damage to those stalkers. Did he actually get Adept Glaives? Yeah, he finished Adept Glaives, and now he's going charge because he was trying to make it work, trying all these gateway timings here, but there was nothing in the patch that made Adept Glaives more valuable against lurkers. But Hero thrives with the element of surprise. Building 2 Immortals and then Observers. I guess he does have the Oracles. How many Oracles has he lost? Oh my. 5 Oracles. Pentacles. Hero just expanded north instead of opening up the map to the south. Or I guess to the east. Everything sounds fancier when you use cardinal directions. Or clock directions. Sounds very distinguished and pioneering. As opposed to the base over on that right side, over there, the DLC base where you have to go through the mineral wall. Yeah. No, to the east. You look in, oh my god. Zealots warped in to defend. Dark still on defense. Fleet beacon on the way. Storm and +1 air. Hero has plenty of money, and he's willing to throw it around. Throw it around. But if he keeps throwing things, he's gonna end up throwing the game. Oh my god, the stalkers. Could you move? Do they all need to be at the watchtower? Protocol. Well, there are now 23 lurkers. Well, Storm is done, but the lurkers are on the field and starting to isolate these bases. Are there any He sniped the observers. God, Hero having a real tough time keeping detection alive, and the tactical nidus to reinforce. And he's just gonna go up to the high ground, goes through the rocks, finds a great concave, will slice his way down the Zerglings into the natural. A recall. Stalkers were going for a base trade, apparently. He recalls his army from the 4th to the natural. Dark just moves slightly to the left and slices through multiple immortals. There are zealots on the other side. Drones on the run, but the zealots will be sliced up by the lurkers. Meanwhile, continuing to eviscerate probes, Nexi and immortals alike. The lurkers, and he's popping through the Nidus! Right in the front of everything. The Templar trying to get close enough for a story. Here comes some queens! Oh my!
Finally, Brenda, it's time for your revenge. Hey, sweet. Don't be gross.
I don't... More Archons being warped in. The Immortals absolutely blasted. There's a Tempest? Sure. Everybody. But Hero is pinned back. There's so many lurkers that even if he does have detection of the Hydras and Queens weren't here, but Dark has had enough. He's just going straight through the storms and slices up the Templar. One more storm will soften up some of the lurkers, but not enough of them, as Dark is now slicing into the natural. He's cut Hero in twain. And now, the Tempests aren't remotely close to enough. The Templar are helpful, but Hero is just temporary now in this game. GG! Dark takes it back, 1-1. Hero couldn't decide what he wanted to do, so Dark took his choices away from him. Well, so 2 for 2 on drone pulls. I love how Dark said, the only way I hold this is by holding that high ground. I need to have the top of the ramp. And he pulled the drones to do it. He got real greedy before then. Like, going up to 80 drones against a 60 worker timing, just straight up 3 base blink. But Hero, stubborn as always, didn't build a robo until he was forced all the way back to his base. Principled, but those principles sometimes get him killed. Oh, we're going to another new map. It's Amphion. Amphion? Amphion sounds way better. I don't know what it's from or what it stands for, as all I do is sit here and cast StarCraft all day. Well, at least a small, the most important part of the day, that is. Like and subscribe if you agree. But, so, features of this map. Map features. The mineral walls. There's it says 5, but that's a lie. That's misleading. It's 10 minerals apiece. I think maybe the original version of the map said it was 5 minerals, but then you could just go through with 2 workers, which is a bit much. Send 2 drones with your Zerg rush. I don't know if Hero was just checking how many minerals were at those with the probe there. I thought he might mine it through and do some sort of crazy timing, but... Adept on the way. I mean, I think he's going to do some sort of crazy timing. I don't know if it's going to be related to the mineral walls. But either way. So far, Hero versus Dark delivering on that expectation of unexpected strategies. Drone will be able to take a third. This is another map that... It's not as bad as Ghost River in whether you're able to take it. Like, take a third base. There are other options if it does get blocked by, like, a pylon. But they're not great. You either have to go through the mineral wall or maybe take the further out base. There's also, like, a mixed base over here. Some gold minerals. There's a gold base, another mixed base down there. I do like that addition of, like, it just makes it a bit of a higher income base. Instead of just all-out gold. Mix and match the mineral patches. The variety pack base. What is this? Why is there a probe here? Nah. I don't think so. Is he gonna take that gold? He'll just hardwall. Wait a second, is this another DLC map? I didn't even think about this. That's why I'm here commentating, alright? So, there actually is no ground path, and he can use the Void Ray to deny the mineral wall, so Dark would have to go through the rocks. Or even just an Adept. So we keep... Oh my. Well, so Hero has turned this kind of like how on Alcyone, those extra bases, you have to go through rocks or mineral walls. Well, here on Amphion, the same is true. But that side of the map is... Oh my. Wow. Huh. I wonder if Dark has any idea. The beauty of it, he went Void Ray, which is inherently suspicious. No one goes Void Ray except to do suspicious things like hide a base. He's going to Tempest Rush? I guess it could be carriers. It feels like Tempest, though. It's got that, like, it's giving me that mouth feel. Well, the Oracles kill the Queens, which is... Get out of... That's enough! Lucille, get back. The Oracles are over here. Nobody cares about Void Rays in current year. I care. Is it going to be Tempest? It looks like he's saving for carriers. I guess if you're gonna go big, you go all the way. Or Aristotle. He's even mining from the gold patches. The Dark has no idea. He's in the dark about this. Well, I don't... Is he going to have any warning at all? He doesn't know anything about this. I think he has to assume he's starting to work on the rocks here. It's pretty suspicious that there was a hard wall. He saw one of the gases... But, yeah, he's got to go through those rocks. Those rocks are not being watched by Hero, so... But by the time anything gets through them... Uh-oh. He may just lose. Like, what is there to defend? There's 6 queens, but with +1 weapons on these carriers, and the queens are strung out. They don't have much energy. This is pretty suspicious that there's an Adept here at all. How did the Adept get here? Clearly he mined out his end of it. But the carriers have already arrived. Dark is figuring it out. But, yeah. Will the queens... There's only 1 queen in the main. He's building 12 swarm hosts. He just invested. Oh, no. Sir Richard and the brethren called in, but unfortunately, at the worst possible time, it's a hidden base carrier rush. Spore Crawler's moving up, just fighting the interceptors themselves. Dark has to tear down the rocks, and a carrier will be harassing all the lings and the roaches. while they're trying to do so. Neural Parasite. So Dark not just giving it up. He's gonna try to make something happen here. He's got a Nidus, the Swarm House. We got Flux Veins on the way for the Void Race. Swarm House at the natural. He's gonna drop it down. Does he get the base? He could oh, he's going for the Cyber Core. Dark is working on the base, but I think he's splitting his damage a bit too much here. Meanwhile, the wall is torn down. The rocks are open, but he doesn't kill the Cyber Core nor the Nexus. 0 for 2 on objectives. And he figures out the base on the low ground. Dark has 72 drones. He's not dead by any means. He still has a perfectly good economy. It's just the carriers have so much momentum. Like, you know how dangerous it is. I'm sure every single one of you who's even touched StarCraft in any sort of competitive way knows the old adage. How do I counter 12 carriers? And the answer being, kind of dickishly, don't let them get 12 carriers. Well, Dark didn't let him get 12, but he let him get more than none. And at this level, that's a critical mass. And now we have 7 carriers on the way across. Infestors with Burrow and Neural Parasite, though. And Neural Parasite's the carriers. And again, there's no detect, but he only got 1. He's slowly but surely. Maybe he only has 1. Dark never has just 1. Microbial Shroud. Looking for, he uses Fungal on the Interceptors. Microbial Shroud to reduce the carrier damage. It's not quite enough. The carriers are just grinding through. He's got 6 more Infestors on the way. The Microbial Shroud, that could last quite a while, but... Is there just anything left? The Natural, the Zerglings can't... The Swarm Hosts are burrowed like it's 2013. The Infestors are about to pop out. Dark is doing everything he can. The Stasis, the Simulation successful. The Revelation. And that Revelation is GG. Hero's taking this one. Puts him on match point. What a build. Dark. They've played on this map before. I've seen series on it. I have not seen that particular strategy. That's one of those that Hero breaks out, and I don't think Dark is ever going to be beaten so decisively by that again. But Hero, confident and executes it perfectly. Well, almost perfectly. Not having detection while burrowed infestors are stealing your carriers is not ideal, but just generally good. So, we go on the match point with Hero clearly getting the better of Dark multiple times so far. Dark, with our more long-winded game, he was able to take. But right now, Hero's in the driver's seat, which is a weird spot when the final boss is involved. Feels like Dark is trying to take back the initiative, but Hero's already 2 steps ahead of him, or 2 steps behind, which is still an awkward spot. It's hard to tell. Like, with the hard wall at the natural, what I am surprised by is how Dark saw, I'm assuming he saw, that Hero had hard walled off with 2 gates and a cyber. Like, he can't get any units out. But didn't quite expect Stargate, or at least the carriers. Which tells me he's never seen that strat before at all. Like, the next time he sees a hard wall on that map, I bet Overlord speed or, like, rushing something. Because in hindsight, it seems so obvious. But Hero kept him in the dark. Well, we're on Oceanborn. 2 old maps, 2 new so far. I believe Sight, Delta, and Golden Aura are 2 other choices for older maps. And then Crimson Court, Dynasty, and Post Youth, which seems a little on the nose. for most StarCraft players, round out the new map pool. I mean, they're combined, but of the newer map. Just okay, yeah. Just gonna DT rush. Sure. Good old-fashioned DT rush. It's an old build, but it checks out. Probably Archon drop after it. It's very unlikely to be something that just outright kills Dark. But you could leave him crippled and limping along. Unless Dark essentially sees the Dark Shrine, which, you know, he just assumes. Why wouldn't you be building a shrine to Dark? But more Prism on the way. It all depends on... Well, even if he has spores, you need enough units to actually shut down the DTs. The DTs can fight queens. And the queens don't get too much of a choice in the matter. Spores on the way. None at the third, because if you're defending against Stargate, usually you have enough queens at the third that you don't need to build a spore. And that could hurt. The Oracle should be coming, like, the theoretical Oracle in this case, should be coming in right around now. So the fact that no Oracle has shown up should start ringing at least a few alarm bells here. A whole bunch of Zerglings are on the way. And I think Dark is anticipating Adept Glaives, or something along those lines. Clearly going to try to get a jump on it. But unfortunately for him, he sees the Prism, queues up a Spore immediately. In fact, he's uprooted a Spore, and is building another one. It will be able to burrow. Are there Brando! Get over here! Transfuse! Oh my god! How? You have one job! Okay, well, you have like 7 jobs, but that was the most... Oh, no! What's done is done. This is an absolute disaster. Dark had the counter. He immediately uprooted the Spore. But losing that first one has lost him so much time and momentum. It's not over. There's so many Spore Crawlers all over here. In fact, Hero not actually able to make too much progress. He didn't kill the base. He tried to get into the main as well. Maybe assuming Dark was extra greedy, but he did have a Spore there. And behind this, there is no third for Hero. A lair just started, so it's just going to be the Queens. Wow, very bold move, moving his Spores all the way away. Yeah, Dark is trying to zone out the Warp Prism itself. And at the natural, Dark's at 50 drones. So I think Hero may have overestimated his position here, as Dark is now successfully playing zone defense against the Warp Prism. There are Spore Crawlers, quite a sporchard created so far. He's got 5 of them scattered throughout, mostly to zone out the Prism, but making sure he covers all his bases, quite literally. Sentry! You died well. That's a lie. That was just horrible pathing. I don't know why the Sentry was there. Which, even a 1 Guardian Shield would help out a lot against the army Dark has. Reducing that range damage. Even a couple force fields, as there are no Ravagers at the moment. He's building a few. Dark is a bit supply block. But here comes Hero. He's got +1 done. And the Queens backing up the Ravagers, trying to hit the Warp Prism. A Blux on top actually hits the Prism with the Vials. Gonna prevent it from warping, and the drones are pulled again! And here we are. The Prism runs all the way away. Has to pull some drones, but the drones again, muddying up the waters. He takes out the Observer. The Warp Prism does survive. A very important part of this. The lifeline to the push. But Dark still has 50 drones. The third base is precariously low here. The Zealots, Spore Crawler moving up. The drones are pulled yet again. And Ravagers. Hero is working with those upgrades. Dark knows if the critical mass of Stalkers comes together, it's going to be very difficult to deal with. And that's why he's pulled the drone several times. But unfortunately, the War Prism is still intact, and the Stalkers are working their way forward. Hero with that +1 is able to keep trading here. And Dark just taps it out. Hero takes it. With a decisive timing, Dark unable to recover from being so off balance. But that, well, that brings us to our anti-spoiler bonus game. Dark versus Classic, a rematch of the GSL. But, wow. Hero with a decisive victory on this new patch. Now, did the new patch have anything to do with it? No, I don't. I almost nothing. Well, as I mentioned, there's very few changes that really affect the ZVP, which was the intent, as the matchup, as you can probably tell, is pretty stable at the moment. With Dark able to beat everyone and Hero still able to beat him, so that's the consistency we're looking for. But we'll see, with Classic involved. But the DTs, if he had lost the Prism with that push, we might have had quite a game on our hands. But the +1 blink, Hero trying to make it work and, well, succeeding this time around. Ends up coming out significantly ahead. He knew his advantages, so willing to blunk forward as well, which is a very risky business. Blinking those Stalkers forward and using them essentially to just chase things down. Because Stalkers, they're not up-in-your-face battle barbarians. They're Stalkers, which are known for being more subtle and annoying. That's understating it, but we even wear like little bandanas to cover their mouths, hiding the fact that they don't have them, which they're embarrassed by. Well, Classic slaps down the pylon to deny the more customary third base from Dark. It's like that's his lot in life today. The probe will finally be hunted down. The Zergling will chase it. It'll pay for its transgressions with its life. Classic, definitely known for a more tech-oriented style of Protoss. Stargate, Robo Bay, very little in between. Losing 3 drones here to Adepts. There's about 2 more, or to 1 Adept rather. Very important. Is certainly not the ideal start for Dark. He's at 29 workers now. There are oracles on the field as well, so it's not like building Zerglings can directly translate into counter damage. Of course, having no units in the wall can't. Well, 2 Adepts finished at just the right time. The probe. He's gonna target it. Adept Shade. Hey! Abandons the probe. Oracles burn through. Or 1 Oracle, rather. He's getting all this done with just a couple units. And Dark, losing 5 drones, doesn't kill the Oracle, doesn't really delay the third base significantly. So now, it's one of those more awkward starts. What is this drone doing here? It just dies. Was he actually going to try to take the 4th base this early? Beautiful. Oracle Micro there. Right up until... No, continues. Barely gets away, but he does get away for now. Get back here! The threecles will continue. And really, there's not much Dark can do unless he's willing to pull the queens. We're at the stage of the game where you either got to tech up or throw down. The Adepts coming across, a little bit of pressure. Just This is kind of the equivalent of Hellion Banshee in Terran versus Zerg. Similar purpose here. Keep control of the creep. Keep them honest. But probably not commit to much. I say that, and then he just shades right on through. He runs by with the Hellions. Completes the shade. He's gonna lose all of the Adepts, though. He gets 6 drones. 7. Well, we'll see if the Oracles can find more success. But the Queens are already boxing them out. A bit of an ambitious shade there. And Dark, with those Adepts cleared up and the Oracles driven back, Oracles get a couple more drones. But he knows he's pretty safe to build up now, as there shouldn't be much of a follow-up. At least for a little while. There is Blink. There's +1 on the way. And Dark, a dozen drones. But supply blocked from the Overlord on the Pervert Pillar. Which, a bit of an unforced error. Well, a bit forced error. But who could have foreseen this? Robo is done. Robo Bay is the choice. Observer. Observer looking pretty thick. 10% more so after the patch. Well, just loses the Oracle. Unfortunate for Classic. Trying to get the creep, but the Oracle's slipping and sliding around. Has a tough time starting and stopping. It happens. Colossus, extended thermal lance. So, definitely the more tech-oriented route here. Just usually 2 or 3 Colossi to clear Lings. They're not too bad against Banelings, but Dark no Baneling Nest. And then maybe Disruptor is the choice. Templar Archives on the way as well. Stalkers blink in. Drive away the Lings. Roaches. The Oracle's looking for the army to slap a revelation on. Or not. Classic actually just so averse to losing it. Hey, things slow down. Classic definitely a more defensive Protoss than what we saw from Hero. Hive is on the way. Burrow. Overlord speed. Roach speed. Getting up in your face. Creep is essentially a speed upgrade, especially for the Queens, who truly need it. Just getting up in your face and making life difficult. Meanwhile, more gates. Size Storm charge. I haven't seen... Wait, no Fleet Beacon yet for Classic? He's holding off. That may be next on the agenda. Another 50 Lings and a dozen Banes for Dark. Baneling speed +2 melee +1 Carapace. And a Zergling drop. He's baking like it has Banelings in it. There don't have to be units in it at all. You can make the Dropper Lord and then just look scary and intimidating. Which I would expect someone like Dark to do, but there are some Zerglings in there. Those Dropper Lords 10% faster, so slight speed boost over the last patch. Will it make a difference? A little bit easier to actually get anything done with it. But there's the Fleet Beacon. Drops out the Lings. Just enough Lings to try to protect the Overlord. The drama continues. Ultraless Cavern is on the way. Adrenal Glands +2 melee. But still, since that early aggression, well, Classic has sat back and built up. Fleet Beacon, second Stargate. Clearly show the trajectory wants to go. Carriers, maybe Mothership. The Zerglings heading north. Ultraless, though. against a Colossus-based army. Does he have any Vipers? No Vipers. Dark is happy to just take the map. Overlord comes back in, why not? Dropping out a couple, we're trickling down the lanes. Meanwhile, Stasis catches a lot. The Roaches and the Banelings having a real tough time wading through the storm. And, well, Classic gonna be able to clean this up. It appears Dark kind of freeing up some supply here. And, oh no, Classic! Not now! The Zerglings pop out on top of the Templar. We'll get none of them somehow, which is a Christmas miracle for him, but Ultralisk on the way. Somehow missed a creep to me. But the Zerglings will go for the pylon in the middle of everything and rip it down! Oh no, what a disaster!
Who does that?
A single pylon powering so much of the defense. Holy, those Lings just... Wow. The Lings are just ripping everything apart. On the left, on the right, the Ultras are moving down the center. Ultra trying to get involved, but the Lings have already got most of the work done. Banelings coming through. Classic scrambles to defend. But the Probes have to run. And just as Zerglings here. Overrunning the field. Classic's perfectly prepared defense crumbles in the face of like hundreds of Zerglings at this point. Classic is supply blocked from losing Nexi and Pylons. And losing his third now to, well, the Zerglings shouldn't be able to go through here, but some Banelings are rolling in. More Ultras on the way. And Dark's relentless onslaught will continue. More Zerglings. He's got 68 on the field, almost the perfect number for a nice attack. But another Stasis will slow things down. There's a Nidus in the main. There's a Burrowed Ling in here. Did that come from the Dropper Lord? How perfect would that be? I believe it did, actually. And that Nidus is about to complete. The Colossi aren't dealing with it. Ultra pops out into the main. And, that's it. All right, suddenly 4 Ultras. Used efficiently. The Stalkers blink up and more than they bargained for. Dark comes into the third. Dark in the fourth. 15 workers down. The Ultras rampaging throughout the main base. Dark is just chewing up the Stargates, cutting off the carriers at the source. Another Nidus. Queens, we've arrived! Queens are popping out. And Classic is just getting ripped to shreds, I say. Loses the main, loses the third. He's going to be on one base. Storms are nothing to the Ultralisks. He's just killing the Stargates. Well, Classic, besides that bit of early aggression, the Ultra just chewing up the Templar. Oh, Probe, sure. Hungry Ultralisk. Let me at him. Please. Oh my god. Finally dies. And Classic. Is that a Baneling? Burrows whatever he has nearby. Classic has been absolutely gutted. He still has a pretty strong army, but if he wasn't finding much success with 4 bases and a similar army, now with 1 base, I don't think he's going to find much more. So, this is what Dark versus everyone else looks like. I'm glad. I wasn't sure what this game would look like, but for some reason and somehow Hero gets in his head. But here we see the final boss. Absolutely ripping Classic apart. Not even remotely close. Stop the carriers by simply killing their Stargates with your Ultralisks. Take that one home. All right, jot that down somewhere. Well, a bit of a redeeming game we were able to show, but Hero with a decisive victory in the finals. Dark cleaving through Classic to get there. But hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully it made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. And if you have the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. If you haven't yet checked out the second channel for streams, content, you got more hours in the day you want to waste, enjoy, check it out, Winter Gaming TV, in the description as well. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.